Okay, magandang umaga, magandang hapon, magandang gabi, saan man kayo. Nagbabalik na naman po ang Proyekto Pilipino. Ako po si Laloy Claudio at kasama ko po ngayon si Manolo Quezon as always. Um, Our topic for today is an interesting topic. Naalala ko, muntik ko nang abutan to sa college. Pero marami alam ko gustong umiwas dito dati. At napag-uusapan ngayon kung babalik ba ito ulit. Ito ang ROTC, yung military training na ginagawa sa kolehiyo. And to discuss the possibility and why it might come back, why it should, why it shouldn't, ang guest natin for today is Assistant Professor Maria Zenia M. Rodriguez, isang educator and leader sa sa political science community ng UST, and ang kanyang expertise ay educational management and public policy research. Ma'am Zen, magandang hapon, magandang umaga, magandang gabi sa'yo. Walang oras ang Proyekto Pilipino pero magandang pagdalo.
Magandang araw po sa ating lahat, sa mga nakikinig. Sir Manuel Quezon, Sir Lisandro Claudio, magandang araw po sa inyo lahat. Salamat po sa pag-imbita sa akin dito.
Sige, lalo lang po. So I guess
Well,
magsimula tayo. Ano yung marami na siguro nakalimot. Ano yung ROTC? At ano yung diskusyon ngayon na kung ibabalik ba siya or hindi?
ah, naabutan ko ito kasi I'm a 1990 student in UST, no? May ROTC pa noon. Pero this is a voluntary ROTC during our times. In such case, I was not part of it. So just to refresh yung mga kabataan natin ngayon, ano? So ROTC was a program, part of the program provided for by our national government. And this was a voluntary training given to our college students before to instill ika nga nila nationalism and discipline from among our young people. So the present issue right now is bringing ROTC back as a mandatory requirement for our students. So it was a proposed legislation to revive ROTC through Senate Bill 2034. Ang haba ng title, an act mandating the institutionalization, etc., and of the ROTC in higher educational institutions. This was proposed by Senators Padilla, Ejercito Estrada, Ejercito de la Rosa Gatchalian, and Tolentino. So maraming highlights ito, no? Pero I'll just try to point out some of the more important points. So basically, it's reviving basic ROTC for all students enrolled in less than 2-year undergraduate courses, diploma or certificate programs in higher educational institutions or TVIs. And there are no exemptions
Mhm.
for the basic ROTC program. Although, sabi nga dun sa batas, the National Defense, the Department of National Defense, CHED and TESDA, shall prescribe a specialized program, of course, to address the special needs and circumstances of students. Kasi not everyone naman can actually be part of ROTC if they are not physically able. So, a voluntary ROTC also, a voluntary advanced ROTC is also reinstitutionalized, which means to say, pagkatapos kunin ng mga estudyante yung basic ROTC program, they can take advanced ROTC program, and completing the basic ROTC program will allow them to be enlisted as members of the reserve force. So, kasama din dito sa batas na to is establishing a training program for the instructors of ROTC. So, they have to ensure that the instructors should meet the highest physical and moral standards to carry out the basic ROTC program. But I think the more important thing here is, nakita ko sa batas, is the establishment of an ROTC grievance board in every ROTC unit. So
Oh,
may
ano po
local
yun?
grievance. The way I understand it, meron kasi may provision po doon sa batas na may ROTC grievance board in every ROTC unit at meron ding National Grievance and Monitoring Committee naman. So these groups will be ika nga will be given the task of looking into the irregularities and concerns which may be brought about by the implementation of the program. I think this is really very important as far as the implementation, sakali, no, they push for the implementation, the existence of this grievance committee, given the history of the ROTC program in the past years when it
Ma'am, let
was,
me
you
let
know,
me let me jump in there because I've noticed two things. Yung isang nabanggit nyo, nung estudyante kayo, you already reached the point na voluntary ang ROTC. And
that's
second,
right.
yung sa pag-introduce nyo sa topic sa proposal ng Senado, napaka-interesado kayo sa pagtatag ng o gusto nila magtatag ng isang grievance board. And I think this points us to something very important because you represent the Tomasian community, which was the very important role UST played in making ROTC voluntary in the first place. Could you, for the non-Tomasians in our audience, could you walk us through how this happened? Because in the early history of ROTC, UST was one of the institutions that was all in for military training for students. And then it was a very big deal when institutionally, ang UST mismo ang naging tutol sa requirement ng ROTC at isa sa mga sumuporta na gawing um, hindi no longer mandatory to. Could you refresh our memory on this, please?
You are correct, sir, no? Kasi 'di ba, historically, UST is very supportive of such a program, but we are also instrumental in making ROTC voluntary. The case of Mark Wilson Chua in 2001. Mark Wilson was our student here, an engineering student, and he exposed some of the irregularities in the program that has happened in the program. So basically, his case became the impetus that led to the end of mandatory ROTC. But more than that, I believe it exposed the potential of the program for lack of abuse and lack of accountability if there are no proper mechanism in place to prevent abuses, corruption, hazing. So I think given this kind of history, there really is a strong argument to oppose the return to its mandatory status, just like what the government wanted it to happen right now.
Elenoy, I wanted to, I've been studying this thing for what, 30, 40 years already. And I think sa debate na ito, you can divide the topics into more than one. Yung unang-unang sort of umbrella topic is, ito yung problema. Our Constitution and all our constitutions since 1935 have made national defense an obligation of every citizen.
Mhm.
Full stop. Every Filipino able-bodied person is required to render military service. The question is, how do you do that? Ito yung konsepto na pamilyar sa mga from Switzerland, the idea of a citizen army. Ngayon, nung unang itinatag ang military service before World War II, it was actually very interesting. Ang sistema, may lottery. Because the idea was, hindi naman talaga practical na bawat dadaan sa eskwela, bibigyan mo ng rifle at tuturuan na maging sundalo. Hindi ba? It's just financially, logistically, everything impossible. So ang sabi nila, gagawa tayo ng lottery.
Ito yung panahon ni MacArthur, no, Manolo?
When you reach a certain age, you're given a number. Tapos every year, a certain percentage will be called up to go through 3 months or so of training. And over time, gagawa yun. And from the time you enter that, up to the time you reach maybe 40 or 45, every year you're liable to be called up for citizens, for military service. And for a long time, yun yung naging proposed, yun ang naging policy. Then, when martial law happened, si President Marcos, as one of his sort of reasons for martial law, said, ang daming mga magulang na natatakot na nagiging hippie yung mga anak nila, nag-recruits, pasaway. So, kailangan puwersahin natin lahat ang kabataan na magmarcha buong araw at matuto maging masunurin at
Pero
disiplinado.
pero pag uwi nun, Manolo, may kinig ng Juan de la Cruz Band, tapos
Yes,
magjujutsu ulit.
mas lalong galit pa sa otoridad.
Oo.
So, but that was the whole idea. In fact, we think that since 19 forever yung lahat obligado, that was a martial law innovation. The third thing is, ano ba talaga ang layunin ng pagpipilit ng kabataan na dumaan sa ganitong training? For those who started military service, yung binanggit mo, MacArthur and the others, sabi nila, para matuto ka maging sundalo. It's not for morality, it's not for discipline, it's not for love of country. It's to learn how to kill people in an organized manner. Full stop. Si General Vicente Lim, yung sa inyo na nakakatanda pa ng 1,000 peso bill na may 3 tao doon. Yung isa sa mga yon, si General Vicente Lim, was the first Filipino na dumaan sa West Point. At siya mismo, he's one of our greatest professional soldiers. Sabi niya, kalukuhan ang kaisipan na dapat ka dumaan sa military service para matuto kang maging disiplinado, para matuto kang magmahal ng bansa, para matuto ka ng ganito at ganoon. Sabi niya, no. If you want to learn to be a better citizen, join the Boy Scouts. If you want to learn how to run military service, join the Red Cross for emergencies. The only purpose, and sundalo ito nagsabi, sabi niya, you do not join the military because first of all, civilians are supposed to be the ones determining what the policies of the government are, not the soldiers. Soldiers sa kanyang pananaw are supposed to follow that sort of thing. So we have to sort of, kailangan natin himayin ito. So sa akin, for example, ang mga sundalo mismo ang nagsabi na ang military service is not for nation building and not for citizen building. Yung konsepto na lumawak, masasabi natin, dahil sa ginawa ng UST at ibang mga kolehiyo, na there's more than one way to serve your country. Pwede ka mag-military service kung yun lang talagang layunin mo, gusto mong gawin. But there's an equal and maybe even greater need to render civil service. Diba? For emergencies, to help in government offices. Ang dami mong pwedeng gawin.
Yes.
A wonderful opening up. Ngayon, yung debate na nangyari, again, keeps going back naman to the Marcos argument na, well, pasaway ang mga bata, kailangan pilitan sila na magmarcha-marcha and that sort of thing. And then tanong ng mga professor katulad ni Professor Zen, paano naman ang alam naman natin sa ROTC dati yung malupit na pamumuno na wala namang mapupuntahan. So ma'am, I guess this makes my question very pointed. Bakit ba meron na nga tayong mas magandang sistema, pabalik tayo sa mga sinaunang proposals?
Teka muna, backtrack lang. Kung meron na tayong magandang sistema, papadescribe ko muna kay Prof. Zen kung ano ba yung sistema na yon. Kasi yung nabanggit nga ni Manolo, nagbunga yung mga efforts sa mga university kagaya ng UST into something, a wonderful thing which I went through called NSTP. And siguro hindi na kailangan ipaliwanag ng matagal dahil marami tayong mga estudyante na ikinig dito. Pero Ma'am Zen, yung NSTP, how would you describe it and anong experience nyo sa NSTP bilang isang guro na nag-interact with students who are doing NSTP?
So we have the NSTP law. So yan yung pinalit dun sa mandatory ROTC, So it was known as the Republic Act 9163 on 2002. It made ROTC as an optional component ng NSTP. NSTP, so ngayon alam ng mga estudyante natin yan. Pag nag-enroll ka sa NSTP, which is a requirement, meron kang component na LTS, yun yung Literary Training Service. At yung CWTS naman, yung Civic Welfare Training Service. So these are all requirements. So pwede kang pumili. Ang maganda dito kasi they do field work. But even more than that, yung kanilang ginagawa sa NSTP is more expansive. Hindi lang siya on physical training eh. Kasi they go to the communities, they do community work. They help in different areas, health enhancement, they teach about entrepreneurship, lalo na sa CWTS. Sa LTS naman, so nakafocus sila dun sa pagtuturo sa mga communities, particularly sa mga bata and those who cannot have proper education in some areas, ano. They teach reading skills, math skills, all of these things. So I think this is not just a little bit, but para sa akin, napaka-effective nito. Kasi
Mm.
outcomes-based agad eh. At mas gusto ng mga estudyante yon. Plus creatively done ito eh. Hindi siya rigid,
Oh.
hindi siya physical. But this actually opens more avenues for growth para sa akin sa mga estudyante given the kind of generation that we have right now. So I think this
Okay,
is really
which
very probable.
which brings us back to Manolo's rather leading but important question. Bakit pa? If it ain't broke, bakit
Totoo
papalitan
yan, no?
ito? Why do you think po why are these why do we have these efforts if as a teacher yourself you think it's so effective, bakit sa tingin niyo itong mga senador na to gusto pang baluktutin yung gumagana na?
Talagang para sa akin ano Leloy Manolo, gumagana na talagang mabuti itong NSTP and we have positive feedbacks about it. Ang tagal na nito 2002, 2025 na tayo ngayon. So far wala namang concerns. Under NSTP, kung gusto mong mag-ROTC ka, which is your choice, may mga kumukuha pa rin
Yes.
naman, may namimili pa rin naman. So far, okay naman. Wala naman tayong naririnig na talagang heightened cases as compared when it was done the previous years. So bakit inuulit ng gobyerno ang argumento na kailangan ibalik natin ang isang sistema na very problematic na? Eh nakikita ko dyan, pinipilit nilang mukha sa atin na kailangan ng mga kabataan natin ng disiplina at mag-instill daw ng patriotism at nationalism and to prepare our youth for challenges, external threats, lalo na tong issue sa West Philippine Sea. They also wanted to prepare the youth for disaster preparedness, which I believe is also being addressed by an NSTP program.
Yun nga.
So that is one side na nakikita ko talaga na gustong ipilit ng government kahit doon sa batas na pinasa nila. Yun lang din naman ang nakapasok doon eh. There are no other arguments for the revival of an ROTC program aside from what was stated in the bill that they proposed.
So Manolo, you think it's really this is part of Marcos nostalgia kaya binabalik ito?
It's both Marcos nostalgia and ang permanent anxiety ng marami na may katungkulan ay mahirap kontrolin ng kabataan, di ba? So, ang problema, kung masyadong may sariling isip sila, it's really a mess. And so they'd rather have everyone, alam mo, na pwedeng utus-utusan and alam mo, give them something to do. And again, it's very fundamentally, I think it's just lazy thinking. Let's remember na lumitaw ito nung panahon um, ng Duterte administration. And si dating Pangulong Duterte had a civilian weakness that many civilian leaders have, which is kapag may problema, ang kailangan mo lang gawin, dumampot ka ng isang militar at kaya nilang ayusin yun dahil syempre, alam mo, they're tough and alam mo, no nonsense and that sort of thing. Which again is an even older bad habit dating back to magsaysay. 'Di ba? But ito yung pananaw na kailangan mo ng sundalo para ayusin yung mga never-ending na problema. It's not true. And what they don't tell you is the reason some but not all officers make good executives is they go through higher education because it helps their promotion.
Yeah.
Diba? So they go through all sorts of courses. That's what makes them effective. More than many politicians who didn't study hard. Diba? But beyond that, it's just lazy thinking. Naisip nila because sabi ni Marcos, sabi ni Duterte, kailangan na natin ng kamay na bakal. Humanap ka na lang ng, well, syempre, inisipin mo sundalo yun or sometimes police. So, it's just lazy thinking. It's not answering the real question. The real question is, bakit wala nang pumapasok sa PMA? In fact, more women are entering the PMA than men, number one. And then number two, the class keeps shrinking. Why is the military profession not so appealing anymore? That's the real problem, diba, for our officer corps. Hindi yan maaayos through forced making people march under the sun. Second of all, why is even our armed forces getting old? There are two groups that are getting old in our society, farmers and soldiers.
Mhm.
And walang sagot ang mga namumuno for either problem. Hindi ba? Except forcing everyone to become a half-baked soldier because sa
Yun
modern
nga, yun nga, baka half-baked pa, hindi pa dekalidad.
yes
They're
because
better off. They're
yeah.
better off in the communities where they're college students and alam nila kung magtuturo, kung math students sila, pwede sila magturo ng math. Kung English students sila, pwede sila magturo ng English.
Let's not forget yung konsepto ng citizen soldier dates to the time na tama naman if you gave a farmer a rifle at ayusin nila sa isang hilera and they point at the other side, that's how battles were won. But that's 100 years ago, hindi ba?
Mm.
Iba na ang gera ngayon. Even in you can see between Russia and Ukraine, it's relatively small armies that are fighting each other because they need to be technologically savvy to operate half of the equipment they need. Kahit yung nung you remember Independence Day na medyo paganda na paganda yung equipment ng army natin, you can't have a college student just jump into a tank and learn how to run it, hindi ba? So sa akin, instead of a proper debate where wala namang sigurong kukontra sa pananaw na lahat naman tayo dapat mag-ambag, may ambag para sa depensa ng ating bansa. But to each, according to their ability and preference and means, hindi ba? And again, I'm very disappointed dun sa mga senador na paulit-ulit lang yung mga argumento nila and they don't even go back to the original debates. These debates have been going on since the 1930s and the positions have not changed. And sa akin, the fundamental position that I think settles all of it is yung mga sundalo mismo were against from the very start yung just having everyone do the same thing all at once.
Ma'am Zen, this is all heavy stuff and mukhang di tayo nag-uusap before this pero mukhang pareho tayo ng lahat ng opinion lahat. Ah, ako partly ito yung opinion ko dahil nga nakita ko na gumagana naman talaga yung NSTP and actually marami akong natutunan sa NSTP. Um, why does NSTP work? And I think personally I think it works kasi NSTP is public service. And I wonder if you could talk to us a little bit about the importance of students being introduced to public service and how that is probably more expansive than yung idea na nagmamarcha-marcha ka na. Ano yung long-term effects sa estudyante na maaga pa lang, ito, public service, kailangan gawin mo ito.
One thing that makes NSTP really work then is because it aligns with the needs of the younger generation. Di man Gen Z, but even those early generation. And one thing that makes it work with them is that udang sinabi ko kanina, outcomes based ito. And young students tend to be really very creative. And believe it or not,
Hmm.
mas gusto nila yung mas nakakasalamuha ng tao sa community as compared to undergoing a
Para sa hindi po
rigorous physical.
nakakaalam, ano po yung outcomes based? Para lang sa mga hindi nakakaalam sa mga viewers natin.
um, outcomes based. So yeah. So outcomes based yung talagang kapag may ginawa na sila, nakikita kaagad nila yung result lalo na sa community, yung kahalagahan nito at kung anong maitutulong nila. So nakikita nila agad. No, hindi tulad sa
Yes.
ROTC, nakatayo sila ng buong araw, linggo or kung ilang oras doon. They
Hmm.
don't even know what is in store for them. Kailan ba nila magagamit itong skill na ito? So kung may gera pa ba, as compared to NSTP, I could see the sense of fulfillment from our students na pag bumabalik sila sa amin, may mga kwento sila tungkol sa mga nangyayari sa community. And I can sense this fulfillment kasi sasabihin nila, ma, may natulungan kami, nagkaroon sila ng pagkakaintindi tungkol paano magkaroon ng mga maliliit na negosyo nakatulong kami paano magturo ng mga estudyante. So I think it really is a big deal for this generation and even those who came before them. Isa pa, for the Gen Z right now, this is a different group of individuals. The youth right now is different. They are digitally connected, very much so. So which
Mhm.
makes them more aware about different issues, social justice, human rights. In fact, they are more socially conscious. I have observed that. In fact, we are all professors here. We have probably observed that in our students. They are more
Mhm.
socially conscious. They are more about sincerity of intentions sa mga kausap nila. They value transparency. So I think a program with a tainted past like ROTC would raise mistrust and concern for this generation. So aside from that, yung generation na they're open to discussions about issues.
Mhm.
So anything else that would make them undergo a rigorous training, one that curtails their freedom to speak and to voice out their opinions, it actually is not working for them. Kaya yung
I
issue
see.
na sinasabi na you join ROTC, we have ROTC to instill discipline. Hindi naman sa sinasabi natin na hindi natin kailangan i-disiplina. Discipline is needed sa mga kabataan ngayon. But right now, yung mga bata kasi ngayon, if you want to say discipline agency, you have to do this through meaningful engagement. You sit
Mm.
down, you talk to them, you engage with them. Ganun yun. Ang daming gustong sabihin sa klase. It's not the kind of class that you have been doing before, no? Na you impose your opinions. This generation would like to talk. So they prefer long talks.
I agree.
They want you to listen to them. They rather would want to speak their minds out, rather enforce discipline to them to a rigid method like an ROTC training. So kung pag-uusapan naman yung paano naman yung sense of nationalism and patriotism ng isang Gen Z, hindi naman pwedeng sabihin hindi sila patriotic, they are patriotic. Because they are socially conscious, they are aware, they advocate also for good governance. But hindi lang kasi dapat gawin ang pag-instill ng patriotism na ito through a rigid method like ROTC. Marami talaga avenues to do that.
And minsan talaga, hindi ko naman lahat, no? Pero minsan yung ROTC kasi when it's implemented, many times palpak. Ang nangyari, parang ano, sundalo equivalent of bahay-bahayan. Hi class, I will play your general, you will play my kades, mamarcha-marcha tayo, meron tayong baril, pero yung baril natin hindi totoo, 'di ba? Kahoy yung baril natin.
And that's
Tapos
been a
ibibilad tayo,
criticism.
magpo-push-ups tayo. Medyo absurdo siya because what do we really learn from play acting? Why is play acting more relevant than going to communities and serving people using your skills? It really boggles the mind. Sorry, Manolo, you're saying.
Well, I mean, that's been a criticism since day one. And that was because yung perennial problem natin sa lahat ng bagay is we're great at ideas, but we don't know how to scale up. So, for example, just to sidetrack for very briefly, the problem before World War II was for all the ambitions to form a Philippine army from scratch. The problem was we didn't have enough officers, and you can't have an army without officers. It's that simple. So that's always been our problem. You can't do military training if you don't have people who know how to train. Ngayon, I do feel, however, sometimes I am on the side of the critics of the NTSP right now, which is, look, this was always about the one fundamental obligation, which is undebatable because required, to render national defense. Therefore, it has to be within the context of national defense. You can define national defense many ways. For example, there's food security, there's water security,
Mm.
there's health security. Those are different. So all of that would be teaching, feeding, healing, protecting. But I don't know if it involves, for example, teaching people how to do a balance sheet and run a business. I mean, leave that to the economics club or something. So in that sense, there is always a need na balikan at balikan ang ongoing na
Task.
sistema at tingnan paano mai-focus considering limitado ang panahon, resources, at kailangan malinaw sa lahat ang layunin. Right now, for example, it bothers me that kung um, fostering nationalism, learning civics is not part of national defense, why are we accepting that premise? Kasi the moment you accept that premise, binubuksan mo na naman yung pintuan para sa mga nagsasabi, kalokohan lahat yung mga ibang NTSP na yan. You know, because you're accepting half of the argument already. As General Lim said, if you want to learn about civics and that sort of thing, join the Boy Scouts, join the Red Cross. Hindi ba? Learn that and then bring back the proper use of time, energy, and effort to the topic at hand. But again, naliligaw yung usapan palagi sa nostalgia para sa hindi lang sa nakaraan but a specific point in time that was very harmful for all our
For our development.
yes.
Usong-uso kasi ang dali-dali kasi mangampanya on the tagline of disiplina. Marami taong nananalo based on that dahil let's face it, there's also a machismo behind it. A lot of this is about men wanting to be men and saying that there's only one kind of public service and that is the public service of ramrod men na siga na kaya makipagbasagan ng muka, ganyan, 'di ba? There's an aggression, there's a machismo to it without accepting that public service takes on less masculine forms compared to this. And ang problema, unfortunately, I think yung Philippine electorate medyo macho pa rin talaga kahit anong mangyari. And yung resonances nito is really a function of the fact na hindi babae enough, hindi bakla enough ang Philippine electorate to be able to deal with the grotesque machismo of these men who just want to show off yung pagkaastig nila. I think it's no surprise na yung mga author nitong bill na to, yung mga talagang mga pamacho, 'di ba? Mga Robin Padilla, mga Bato de la Rosa, 'di ba? Sorry, non-partisan pala tong programa na to. I'll keep those comments for next time. But talaga ang macho-macho. And I think itong machismo na to, ito rin yung nagli-lead doon sa mga nangyayari sa ROTC. Nabanggit ni Ma'am Zen kanina, yung hazing. Can you talk about that? Yung babalik tayo sa issue, bakit pumalag ang UST dahil nakita nila yung hazing. Can you describe how bad it was getting before, ma'am?
Wala namang kasing ibang issue tungkol sa ROTC even before Mark Wilson's case. Yun lang talaga yung talagang parang nag-surface na matindihan. But even I was here in UST 1998 pa. So Mark Wilson's case was 2001.
Can you describe that case for us po?
So in a nutshell, yung case na yon was a few details. He exposed some of the irregularities in the program. He was talking about may bayaran sa loob, may corruption among the officers, basically that. And this was not being addressed at all. Matapang yung bata, in-expose, I think it was written in the Varsitarian. And after which, ayun, that is what happened to him with that was a devastating loss actually. So before that, wala naman kaming naririnig here in the university about any other concerns about ROTC except the one that he exposed in 2001. But after noon, ngayon sa voluntary ROTC, wala naman din kami naririnig din na issue as far as how it is implemented here in UST. Of course, hazing is another thing, another concern that
Yeah.
we have.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about hazing and paano nangyari yun dun sa ROTC dati and why there were so many hazing concerns?
I have no details about hazing occurring in ROTC here in UST, except for that nga yung kay Mark Wilson, which did not happen within the program. Yung ginagawa na nandun sila lahat, kasi ano yun nangyari, medyo talagang tinabi siya. Ganun nga yung ginawa sa kanya. Yung hazing na issue sa UST is not about ROTC, itong lately na kaso ng hazing with Horacio. It's a different thing and it's not part of ROTC.
Manolo, I may be too young to remember this kasi nga NSTP na ako ng panahon ko. But were there discussions about hazing noong revise yung batas to make it not to expand it and to allow for NSTP? Do you recall?
Well, no, there were it okay, so hazing and most of all yung pagugulpi and fatally so ng isang whistleblower is what led to the defeat of ROTC as a requirement.
Mhm.
Yung yung hazing, as long as we've had, you know, year one of the PMA in 1937, nagkaroon na ng hazing. And my grandfather had to dismiss the entire class because of a hazing incident. Because yun ang, that was the sort of example they wanted to set. Ang problema, pabalik ng pabalik ang hazing because wherever you put in a bunch of boys and may hierarchy, there will always be the use of force to force togetherness and conformity, hindi ba? So that's why it happens in military camps. That's why it happens in fraternities, hindi ba? And the problem is, it's one that requires two things. It requires, at the very least, yung mga nasa itaas to turn a blind eye, if not actually approve of it. And it requires the complicity of everyone else to keep that silence, hindi ba? Which forces obedience. So the whole idea is we have to be careful kung saan may military or military style setup, there will always be a tendency for power tripping and abuse. Which is why, for example, again in the Constitution, civilians have authority over the military. Kasi kailangan may check and balance, hindi ba? It's the same way that there is supposed to be a code of conduct even within the military that does not make it acceptable. So that even if most of the time hindi pinapansin yung code of conduct na yan, pag talagang may insidente, at the very least, walang lusot yung gumawa. And it applies to all our institutions, even civilian institutions nowadays, because of what's happening to women and to minorities. There is now a very clear understanding na authority does not give the privilege to abuse, hindi ba?
Mm. Sabi
So
ni sabi ni Ma'am Zen kanina, merong provisions yung panukalang batas for complaints against abuses. Sa pagkakabasa niyo po ng batas, do you think sufficient itong mga gantong checks and balances to prevent abuses or deter these abuses?
Hindi kasi very concrete ang nakasulat doon sa bill kung how these grievance committees are going to work. So for as long as hindi klaro sa akin kung ano sa atin, kung ano, paano ito patatakbuhin, sino ang composition nito, what measures will be undertaken if there are cases or complaints against the program, malabong sabihin na this would actually work. Kaya malabong, para sa akin in my opinion, malabo kasi yung structure ng mga provision sa batas eh. Kulang siya kasi. So it's not just haphazardly saying na, ito implement natin kasi kailangan natin ng military force for among the youth. Ano. Gusto ko makita kasi yung mga importanteng bagay eh. Paano mo i-integrate ang ROTC sa curriculum? Burden na nga yung mga estudyante sa academic workload,
Ay,
idadagdag mo
isa pa
to.
yun. Oo.
Sa pa yan. Then, the students have these mental health concerns. They're very open to that. Plus
Yes.
time management. Marami silang issue eh. And students right now are very, very proactive in terms of their future. They plan for their future. And if there is something that you're going to give them na hindi naman aligned dun sa gusto nila maging pag tapos nila mag-college, hindi nakakatulong sa skills na gusto nila, malabo din yun para sa kanila. Now going back to that grievance committee, hindi kasi klaro on how it's going to be implemented. It is important na meron. But the question is, will this also be corruption free? I don't know. I am a skeptic. Something with a very sad history makes me skeptical of how this is implemented, not unless there are proper measures and guidelines in place to tell me if it's going to work. Which is also questionable for me kasi, given the kind of institutions that we have, even if there are guidelines and things in place, ang tao nagpapatakbo, hindi rin natin kasi makikita kung paano ito patatakbuhin. So that's really is a concern for me.
At tama po yun, no? Sa tingin ko dapat mataas talaga yung burden of proof natin relative dito sa batas na to, given na maayos yung nangyayari ngayon at given na maraming abuso nung nakaraan. So, kung talagang kung kailangan, kung gusto nilang panindigan yung batas na yan, hindi pwedeng haphazard yung pagkakasulat, hindi pwedeng vague yung grievance committee. Kailangan sobrang malinaw dahil nga may kasaysayan at ito rin yung sinasabi I think ni Manolo sa mga viewers natin, we can't approach this issue without considering yung evolution unang-una nung voluntary military service, yung nangyari nung panahon ni Marcos, of course, yung recuperation ng disiplina. Ano ba talagang ibig sabihin natin pag sinasabi natin gustong i-disiplina yung mga estudyante? This bill did not fall from the sky. May kasaysayan ito. And one of the things we need to acquaint ourselves with is precisely why such a bill is being proposed today. Manolo, is there anything else about the history that you think we should know about voluntary military service?
Yes, I think again, yung what were the lessons from the very time, okay, this was set up in 1935. By 1937, within 3 years, it was already clear what the problems were. It's been close to 90 years since then. The problems are identical. What are these? Number one, kulang na kulang tayo sa mga professional na talagang may kapasidad na magturo ng panunundalo. That's simple, okay? That was
Ay,
true.
siya nagiging bahay-bahayan, Manolo, kasi hindi
Yes,
marunong
kaya
magturo
nagiging
yung mga
baybayan,
tao.
marcha-marchahan, and then it becomes a question of, di ba, pulling rank and power tripping. That's number one. Number two, um, yung expectations natin about what it's supposed to achieve, there's a very weird contradiction. Sa pananaw ng mga sundalo, ang mga bagay na mahalaga sa mga politikong sibilyan ay walang importansya. Nation building, love of country, discipline, and that sort of thing. Sabi ng mga professional na sundalo, no, you learn that elsewhere, not in being, the one thing you're supposed to learn in military service is how to kill people in an organized manner. Period, full stop. Under the command of civilians. Diba? Okay, so that's the second problem. The third is, yung sa tagal na ng programang ito at yung mga iba't ibang eksperimento, it matters which part of the timeline you're focusing on. Diba? You can focus on the very beginning, which was the idea na never again na dapat masakop ang Pilipinas ng mga dayuhan. Okay? That's the concept of national defense. Or you can go to the middle part where never again dapat magkaroon ng mga demo sa kalye kung saan natatakot ang mga namumuno sa kanila sa loob ng kanilang mga tsideng. Okay? That's martial law. Which side you're picking, I think, says a lot more about what your real objectives are. And not about the pretend objective of
Ayan, na
national.
booking na. Lalo
Yes.
na yung mga, sorry, alam ko non-partisan, pero alam ko naman yung mga iba dyan gusto ng ROTC pero gusto naman nasakupin yung ibang parte ng bansa ng China. So, may kabalintunaan dun eh. Hindi na lang natin papangalanan kung sino, pero napakalaking balintunan nito at titigil na ako dahil non-partisan itong programa natin.
Well,
Actually,
ang non-partisan way forward, Leloy. The
uh,
non-partisan way forward is we can use all our voices to say, ano ba talaga ang layunin nito? Gawin nating talagang, I mean, to their credit, aminin natin na pagdating sa mga nagsusulong ng panukalang batas na ito, malinaw naman ang argumento nila, di ba? Pasaway ang kabataan, dapat bigyan ng baril at turuan magmarcha, maaayos lahat. That's basically their concept, di ba? It's up to everyone else to say, teka muna, what about this? What about that? And most importantly, impluensya natin ang mga magdedebate nito sa loob ng Senado at sa Kamara. Kasama na rin ang Malacanang kung nandun ang Commander-in-Chief and one way or another has to weigh in, hindi ba?
yeah.
And that's where that's a real civic exercise. Hindi lang yung turo ng turo tayo sa mga kinikriticize natin, but let's take part in the debate. Look, schools like UST, which in the past, masasabi natin, were very, parang hands-off sila, ayaw nilang makialam sa mga debate na pambansa. They took a stand and they take a stand in these things. So why be afraid if they, out of good conscience, can get involved in the discussion?
So, ito na rin yung closing natin, no? I'll let our guest make the closing comment. Pero ang closing comment ko dito is, we're a civic show. At hindi sa nagbubuhat ng sariling bangko, pero alam namin ang civics. Mga nga kami ng programa tungkol sa civics eh. And if there's one thing we've learned dito sa many episodes natin, dahil nga ang daming guests, is that ang daming paraan maglingkod sa bansa. From day one pa lang ng Proyekto Pilipino, hopefully mga viewers nakita nyo, every time may bago kaming guest, itong guest na to ay testigo, living proof that you can serve the country in your own way. Meron tayong mga magsasakang nakausap, meron tayong mga ekonomisang nakausap, meron tayong mga politiko nakausap, marami tayong educator na nakausap, meron tayong mga doktor na nakausap. Iba-iba. At kung sinabi natin, imagine lahat ng mga guests natin dito sa Proyekto Pilipino, no, linagay nyo sa isang room at sinabi nyo sa kanila, isang paraan lang maglingkod sa bansa. At ito yung disiplina. Ito ang totoong civics, di ba? Maiinis sila sa iyo. Kasi pinapakita nila sa inyo yung iba't ibang mukha ng sibika. At ito sa tingin ko yung biggest objection ko dito sa required ROTC. Ninanarrow down niya ko ng ibig sabihin ng sibika. Gayong alam naman natin na napakalawak ng konsepto na ito at ang pagbibigay sa bansa at ang pagdedepensa sa bansa, gaya ng bagit mo Manolo, national security, takes on so many forms. And let us not limit our imaginations. Yun lang po. And I'll leave our guest to make the closing argument.
Thank you, Eloy Manolo, no? Tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, ang laki ng usapin kasi tungkol sa sinasabi na civic responsibility. Instill civic responsibility sa mga estudyante. Ang tingin ko kasi ang pag-impose ng mandatory ROTC is an easy response. Very easy. Bigyan natin ipasok natin ng ROTC, discipline natin mga bata. But no, bigyan mo ng ROTC, magkakaroon ng civic responsibility ang generation na to. And I also disagree. Civic responsibility kasi for me, for this generation is a mixture of informed critical engagement and active participation. So yung sinasabi nating middle ground for national service, we have to build on the existing framework of NSTP because NSTP, paninindigan ko, it actually works. We could strengthen and diversify non-military options for our younger generation. Even for the older ones, we can have disaster preparedness. We can talk about environmental stewardship. We can train them for community health, for peace building. Pwede naman kasi i-integrate ang mga bagay na to sa curriculum without necessarily putting them out in the sun and making them undergo all of this physical training. So crucially, what we actually need is a program that would integrate these modules in our curriculum. Critical media literacy, for example, ethical leadership, civics, human rights, maraming pamamaraan, ano? Because all of this can empower our youth to take ownership, have them, get them involved in community-driven initiatives, and make them contribute, make them respect other people, not go through all of these things, which would actually be more harmful for them and for others, like imposing a mandatory ROTC. So that's my take on this issue.
Maraming salamat po, Assistant Professor Zen
Maraming
Rodriguez
salamat.
ng University of Santo Tomas na apparently ngayon ko lang nalaman ay a real pioneer in this space ang UST. Maraming salamat po sa inyo at maraming salamat sa UST para sa pananindigan. Sa ngalan po ni Father Tito Kaluwag at saka ni Carlos Santiago, ito po si Laloy Claudio with Manolo Quezon. Ito po ang Proyekto Pilipino sa ulitin.